Bryan Alvarez here on Wrestling Observer Live. We are here every day, Monday through Friday, noon Pacific, 3 Eastern, Sunday, 3 Pacific, 6 Eastern, Saturday mornings with Jim Valley, 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 Eastern, Sundays with Andrew Zarian. And yes, it is true, Mushroom Man 674. It's Tuesday here on the show, and we got a lot to talk about. Tonight, NXT, the follow-up to the Deadline PLE on Saturday. And I was reading the our message board at WrestlingObserver.com, our community, and somebody was like, "Take a drink every time Bryan says PLE." Well, what do you want me to say? They're not pay-per-views anymore. I'm trying to be hip to the times here. It was a PLE, and it was on Saturday night. So we'll tell you about the follow-up to that. We also got winners coming tomorrow, and this weekend, besides the usual SmackDown, Rampage, and Collision, we do have Saturday night's main event. 5 matches now announced for Saturday night's main event. We'll talk about Raw from last night. A lot of good stuff on Raw. A lot of good talking segments. And, hey, listen, you know, people like to say I won't admit when I'm wrong. They're absolutely wrong. And I'm right. I will admit when I'm wrong. I thought I knew where that New Day angle was going. I thought for sure it was so simple. This Woods is going to turn on this Kofi Kingston. They're going to have a feud. People care about it for a little while, but, you know, people don't like seeing two people they like fight. Golly, was I wrong. They turned heel on Big E, and they were just like the hottest heel act on Raw last night. I mean, they're getting Don Callis heat, and it was amazing. So I was very wrong. They hit a home run with this one. So we'll tell you about that, plus a bunch of all-in Texas notes, Bryan Danielson, and ticket sales, and AEW video games. We got a lot of news. I'll give you all the contact details after the break. Stick around, everybody. Wrestling Observer Live. Bryan Alvarez here, Wrestling Observer Live. Mike Sempervive, also of WrestlingObserver.com. Got a lot to get into here today. Let's start with all the good news and bad news coming out of AEW. All right? I'll start with the bad news or the good news. Anybody care?
Bad news. Bad news sells.
All right, there's really not a lot of bad news. The real bad news, honestly, is, my God, that Rampage rating. Holy smokes. Rampage did 177,000 viewers and a 0.04. That ties their all-time record low. There was, I would say, normal time slot. I mean, there was competition, but there always is. They're 18 to 49, down 68% from a year ago. Like, nobody's watching Rampage.
It's a zombie.
I mean, the thing is, like, they advertised 3 Continental Classic matches, including that Ricochet and Commander and Okada and Mark Briscoe. And, like, let's be honest, nobody cared. They did not watch the show to see those matches. So, you know, it's like, I'll tell you what's good. They are advertising more matches in advance. But, like, even when you advertise matches in advance, like, there's a card. I mean, you need more. I feel bad saying this because, like, first, all I wanted was for them to advertise stuff, right? But now they're doing it, and you can see that clearly there's more to it than that. It's like, well, yeah, you got to advertise stuff, but, like, what's the reason to see these matches? And their matches in the Continental Classic is clearly not enough because nobody watched this show. Like, I'll give you an example. I mean, I shouldn't do... Well, you know, I'll do this, okay? We got Winners coming. I was going to do Saturday night's main event, but people get mad if I compare. Winners coming, okay? So I presume this is going to do all right because, you know, we have some matches announced, but also there's, like, some storylines behind the matches. Like, it's Mariah May versus Mina Shirakawa for the women's title. All right? You know, we know all the background of that. I didn't like what they did with Mina on Collision, but we know, like, the background. You know, maybe Tony will be there, maybe not. You know, we know about Kyle O'Reilly and Adam Cole. We know why. We know what the stakes are. So, like, in this case, we have a lineup, but also why. Right? These are important matches with stakes. Literally the only thing added to the matches on Rampage was, like, they're in the tournament. So it wasn't enough, okay? We need reasons. So that's really the bad news. If we want to talk about good news, so... we're going to see how this All In Texas does. If you recall, I was bullish on this show. I thought, you know what? They're not selling a lot of tickets of late. Things are clearly down. But, you know, they still put 40-whatever thousand in Wembley last year. You know, obviously the year before they did the 82,000 or whatever. You know, they're trying to get over All In as their WrestleMania. And if you recall, like, even when WWE was just like, nobody cared, it sucked, you know, your 2019 period, I mean, they still did gangbuster numbers for WrestleManias, because it's... Did you know that WrestleMania is WWE's WrestleMania? It is. Okay.
Get out of here.
So All In is like their WrestleMania. And so I feel that, like, no matter what's going on, everything around, if they can actually get over the idea that, like, this is the show, if you're going to go to one AEW show a year, this is the one, I think it's going to do all right. Now, they did their on sale. I don't know how many tickets they sold, but they are at over 1.25 million in ticket sales. Now, granted, you know, when they first put tickets on sale, they're very, very expensive. As time goes on, they're going to, you know, drop the ticket prices. 1.25 million could be 15,000 people. 1.25 million could be 5,000 really rich people. We don't know yet, okay? But 1.25 million already, that's a good number. So we'll see what it ends up doing. We got a long time. The show isn't until July. A lot of time for people to say, hey, you know what? I'm going to make some plans. I think that'd be a lot of fun. Hey, I'm kind of more into it, less into it, whatever. So we'll see how it ends up doing, but I think that's a good number for, like, the first day on sale, 1.25 million. We'll know more soon, but I am still bullish.
I guess if we're pocket watching, that's fantastic. I think it really comes down to how many seats were actually sold for a venue that's 40,000 seats. And I can't remember what we said. I was obviously not as bullish on it as you. I think you said 35. I said 20. And 20 is probably very realistic. And they have to, though, turn it on with these stories, get people invested in not just one big story, but multiple stories on that show. Get people believing that the people they have on their roster are as big of a stars as they believe that they are, and that they may have been before, and they will be again. They got a lot to do, and they got a lot to go, but Dallas is a great location for people to fly into. It's very easy to get to. It's at the big baseball stadium for the Texas Rangers. It's at Globe Life. So it's just going to be about trying to motivate their fans and motivate people who are wrestling fans to try to consider this thing a big deal. They've obviously partnered again with Conrad Thompson to do a Starrcade for the week leading into it. I can see them maybe reaching out to other conventioneers to come in and make it that big destination weekend, but they have got to figure out a way to break out of the doldrums they're in right now and start to light a fire under not only their regular fans that used to come out to their shows, but also for people who are, again, that have lapsed from AEW and are either not bothering with anything or all in on WWE right now, trying to do something to get their attention and drag them back in. Otherwise, it's just going to be a lot of really, I don't want to say really rich people, but it's probably going to be a lot of those really expensive seats sold, then a whole bunch of $10, $20 seats, and there's no middle to that. And how many people are you really going to get, and how impressive is it going to look?
Okay, so just as an example, because people are making fun of me, how will they? I think maybe I might have predicted 40,000. Okay,
I think that was, but what it's actually set up for now, we need to go off.
Well, the point is this. Okay, when they first put tickets on sale for Wembley, last year's Wembley, okay, they're coming off 81,000 or whatever. Okay, so they put tickets on sale for year 2, and the very first day the tickets went on sale, they sold 28,000, okay? They sold 28,000 on day 1. That was in November, okay? For those of you that don't recall, like November, December, January, February, for like the next 5 months, I believe, they could not get above 38. It was like they were slowly adding. They could not get above 38. You know, we're talking like WrestleMania time, 38. And so, you know, there are a lot of people like, I think we may have just like topped off or whatever. And the fact of the matter is, you know, as we got closer to the show, they went from that 38 to 54. Okay. So we're a long way away from July. But I feel that, you know, as we get closer and closer and closer to All In, and they hype it and hype it and hype it and hype it, I don't think it's crazy that they could get to 40. 35, 40, I think that's very possible. But we shall find out.
I think you should probably be really happy, though, if they can get to 25. And obviously, if they're
already at 1.25 million. Yeah, like they'll be great at 25. But I think they can get to 35 or 40. That's my point. We'll see.
Okay, great.
Hey, we're going to find out. That guy,
yes,
who was the one that wrote it down? Who's the one? They go, I wrote that down. I'm not going to forget. Sticker Reds 202? All right, you don't forget it, brother. We'll see how it goes. How much WWE was putting in for their 2-night WrestleManias when they were at their dirt worst in 2018 and 2019. They were still doing like 60,000 each night.
That's
because
WWE.
It was WrestleMania, and nobody cared about anything else.
Yeah, well, All In's not that.
That's what we're working on. Back in a moment, Observer Live. just say one more thing.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Not a completely fair analogy, but it's close enough, okay?
It's an Alvarez special.
I'm just going to ask you a question, Mike.
Go ahead.
Be honest here.
All right.
TNA Wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
You don't watch it, right?
Once in a while, yeah.
Let's be honest. You don't watch it. But the point is...
Once in a while, yeah, I do.
What
I do.
TNA show this year had the most buzz? Like online, everybody was talking about it. Oh, my God. What show was that?
The one, oh God, would have been with Hendry after they started working with WWE.
No, it was a rebrand.
At the very beginning of the year?
Yeah, when they rebranded to TNA.
Well, yeah.
That one had the most buzz. Like everybody was
hold on.
talking about the we're
Wait
going
a
back
second,
to
wait a
TNA.
second.
Yes.
Time out. It had the most buzz among the media. What started a lot of that buzz was the fact that they got those big numbers. Remember in fall, and TNA Plus was doing well, and they got these surprising numbers. So there was a lot of talk about that show at the beginning of the year, but I don't think it did that well. And then
But that's the point.
And the buzz went away until the
But
TNA
I know that's my
stuff,
point
or
though.
the NXT.
Like you admit, like the most buzz was about that TNA rebrand show.
Yeah.
Okay.
Until NXT. Yeah.
Okay. So the actual best show that TNA ran all year, in terms of how much they grossed, it was Bound for Glory. It was their version of WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Now, as far as like, it's not really a fair comparison because they ran a relatively small building. I think it was
Detroit.
wherever it was.
Well, I think it was the Wayne State Fieldhouse on the campus of
Yes,
University up there.
WSU.
Yeah.
Okay, so they put 2750 in. Like that's not like a 10,000 people or anything, but it was like a legitimate sellout. The fire marshal was there. It wasn't one of those. It's a 10,000. Like it was a real, actual sellout, and they did their. It was the largest grossing and highest paid ticket total of all of 2024, and it was Bound for Glory. It was their version of WrestleMania. Okay? Now, granted, is the Tokyo Dome selling out 60,000 tickets? No.
No.
I think last year they were like 27,000 or something like that, okay? But like, I've seen a lot of years where New Japan, their spot shows, their small shows, I mean, they're doing collision numbers, whatever, not great. But man, they run that Tokyo Dome. That's their Tokyo Dome. They're going to sell 27,000 tickets. So the key, and I don't know if they're going to do this or not, but if they can convince fans that All In has been for the last 2 years now, and it was how this whole thing began anyway, but like that's their WrestleMania, okay? They can do 30 to 40,000, I believe. We'll see.
I'm glad you believe that.
I do.
For your sake and for their sake, I'm hopeful that is the case. It should not be this much of a fight to do this for something that is their WrestleMania, and where they have been in the past. The fact that it is atrophied to this point where we're talking about this is disappointing, but that's why they got to keep their eye on the ball the best that they can, and they have 6 months, 7 months here to pretty much build towards this thing. So we'll see how it ultimately ends up at the end of the day, but I mean, really, we're doing TNA comparisons here. Is this what we want to do?
Well, I was trying to find something that wasn't WWE, and I also brought up New Japan.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Who else has their version of WrestleMania?
Your extensive knowledge of New Japan.
Hey, how do you think the CMLL anniversary show does every year? Enormous.
Which one?
The anniversary show. Their version of WrestleMania.
Oh, that's AAA. AAA's got the three of them.
Thank you. Thank you. Now, Bryan Danielson did a Bryan Danielson interview, if I ever saw one, with Denise at the show.
Oh, yeah?
And basically he said, yeah, my neck screwed up. I'm a kook. That was his exact words. I'm kooky.
Kooky?
And I got a lot of things I'm going to try before I decide if I need neck surgery.
Drink the blood of younger wrestlers to heal my neck.
Hey, I mean, they don't drink it, but there's a lot of...
Look, if stem cells haven't worked, then what else are you going to go to?
He's doing it. He doesn't know if they've worked yet. So he's going to do all that other stuff, and then if he needs surgery, he'll have to get surgery. But he said it's 50-50 whether he will ever wrestle again.
Brian,
and obviously, if he can, it's going to be at their version of WrestleMania.
It will, but Brian, don't. Look, I said this years ago. 10
Talking
years
about me
ago,
or the other
feels like
Bryan?
now. You please, no, you never ever wrestle again. Please, my God, for all of our sakes, especially your partners. But Bryan Danielson.
I literally was the person who won our last match together, not him. In fact, I won, and then it was restarted, and he lost. So do not blame this on me.
You know who's won in the world of professional wrestling? Bryan Danielson. I say it every time. If there is somebody, when you say in all of the world of pro wrestling, who won at pro wrestling, Bryan Danielson did, overcame everything, got everything out of the deal, is at a place where he is almost godlike as far as how he was revered amongst a amazing cross-section of people. You don't have to come back. All of this talk that your arms were numb and you couldn't feel this, and whether that was true or not before you actually went out, I don't know. But you know what? If it was, they probably shouldn't have let you go out there. But they did, and you went out there, and you probably made it worse. You don't have to keep doing this. I love Bryan Danielson, but if he stopped 10 years ago, I would have more, and I think most people would have more on him than they would ever need. If he can come back, great. It's like any fighter that I've watched for years, Evander Holyfield coming back and people like that. It's hard to tell somebody, it's hard to shake that spotlight. Wrestlers talk about it all the time. Fighters talk about it all the time. It's hard to walk away. I would like to see him walk away because the more we come back with he's good again, and then you hear, well, yeah, he hasn't been able to use his arm, or he's got to have serious neck surgery, or he's going to, Luxembourg for some brand new inventive treatment. Like, man, maybe it's just time to let that ghost go. And I hope for his sake he makes the right decision, for his family's sake. But if it's about the wrestling, Bryan, if it's about us, the fans, we're good. I'll speak for all of them. We're good here.
You're speaking for all the fans?
I will speak for all the fans. I will.
There's a lot of fans that want him back.
Man of the people. At what risk?
Michael Booble here says, those last few matches were a stain on my legacy. How dare you? Listen, that last one...
Your matches or his?
Yeah, mine.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that last one, listen, the last one was a very badly booked feud. And I'm fully responsible for that, okay? But the match itself was not bad. The one we actually won.
Booking up with the Bang Bros.
I didn't have one bad match since I returned.
That's not what Billy Stark said.
What, a match with her?
Worst partner she ever had.
Yeah, because we lost. It wasn't a bad match. Find me a bad match that I had. Thank you.
Go ahead, Internet. Do your stuff.
Go for it. Find it. I'd like to know so I can act like it didn't happen.
Oh, my God. The Botchamania 503 is going to be all Alvarez all the time.
Find it. Find a bad match. Not a bad spot. I saw a bad spot in Kyle Fletcher and Okada this past weekend. Find a bad match.
Were they running the ropes?
No, they were trying something in the corner, and they were like
got lost.
Out to lunch. They were completely... And I swear to God, tonight we'll see if NXT can break the streak, okay? You rarely, okay, on big-time TV, you rarely see people get completely lost, okay? It happens, but it's not like on every show. You're like, what is happening? What is happening? I saw it on SmackDown, Collision, and Raw. All three of these shows. 3 in a row. 3 in a row.
But you know why the Collision one is so much worse is because you're used to
It actually wasn't the worst one.
Well,
the worst one was for sure on SmackDown. The second worst one was on Raw, and Okada and Fletcher was the third.
But you wouldn't expect it with Okada and Fletcher because, they have the reputations and they are so good. But when you don't work with somebody all the time and you're working at a certain pace, things can get thrown off. Like when it comes to the women's match last night, I mean, unfortunately, that's to be expected seemingly in almost every single one where you don't have some of the top tier WWE or NXT women in there. You get those moments where it feels like time stands still.
Well, I'll say this, okay? The one last night was 2 of the women tried to do one goes for a cover, rolls over, they try and bridge up out of it, and then the third was supposed to come off the top onto them as they bridged. And the 2 could not figure out how to do the bridge. And it was like just waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting. So it wasn't really like a botch spot. I mean, it was botched, but it's not like what you traditionally think, which is you guys both forgot what the hell you're doing and you're going in different directions. The Okada one, I think, okay, I don't know this for sure, but I was, a great worker, okay? I clearly saw, they're on different pages. But I would bet that, some people watched it and they didn't see it, okay? So that's not that bad a botch spot, If someone watched it and they were like, I didn't see it, okay, well, that's not that bad then. The one on SmackDown, a blind person could have seen, this one was, this was the most botched spot I've seen on any Major League television show probably in years. I mean, years and years. They were all three in the corner. They had some idea. They forgot what was going on. Naomi slipped and fell backwards and was hanging upside down in the ropes. I think she was laughing. She was just stuck. And the other two didn't know, what do we do now? She's upside down and backwards. What do we do? And they were lost. That one was by far the worst. But it has been 3 straight nights with a real messed up spot. So we'll see if that continues.
They practice these matches so much, you need to practice what happens if something goes sideways with all these crazy
Well, sometimes you
spots
can't
that you're
because
doing.
it went so sideways she was upside down and backwards. What are you going to even do? Sometimes you'll see where somebody accidentally gets caught in the ropes and everything gets messed up, and so the referee and the opponent have to try to get them out, and then they continue. Oh my God. Back in a moment. Raw Report. Observer Live. during the break to find that spot, but like no one put it up. Just funny. And you know what's funny about it too is like, WWE has a social media crew, right? Mm-hmm. And they'll watch the show and they'll put all these animated GIFs and such on. That reminds me. Anyway, they'll put all these on social media. And do you know how many times I've like watched it and just thought, why did you put that spot on social media? Like that looked horrible.
Misses by a mile.
It happens all the time. It's like, is there no retired wrestler that you could give this job to who could actually look at the spot and decide, should I put that one on social media or not? They put some of the wackiest stuff up there. Like, God. All right. Let's talk about Raw. A lot of talking on this show. So I'm going to just like cut to the chase. Gunther came out for a promo. He was interrupted by Finn Balor, who he was scheduled to face on Saturday.
You're bearing the lead. He had blue jeans on, for heaven's sake. When have you seen that before? Relaxed Gunther.
They do their whole spiel. Damien's music hits. The Judgment Day had attacked Gunther. Damien's music hits. He comes out to save Gunther, basically. Runs wild in the Judgment Day. Throws Finn in the ring. Gunther kills Finn, but then also kills Damien. And then, of course, once that happens, the Judgment Day gets the upper hand. They destroy both guys. And this leads to Adam Pearce announcing that it will be now a three-way at Saturday night's main event. It is Damian Priest, Finn Balor, and Gunther for the world title. And Finn also has to defend the tag titles next week with JD versus the Viking Raiders. So Finn's not happy about that.
Do you think that Finn and Dom is a big enough singles feud and match to have like couple down from the top as far as what's important on Raw? Because Damian Priest getting the victory over Finn saves Gunther on Saturday night, and then he and JD McDonough drop those belts. Talk about Finn, listen to Finn and you win. Boy, Dom and Finn as a feud might actually be good depending on what you exactly do with the Judgment Day in that scenario.
This guy says, weird segment. Crowd didn't know how to react. Yeah, because we're slowly in the middle of a babyface heel turn for Gunther.
Babyface heel turn?
Yeah, babyface turn. They don't do anything quick. So, like the beginning of this segment, it's like he played the babyface against Finn. And then, Priest comes out to back him up. But they don't want to do it yet. They don't pull the trigger, so they make sure that he does something heelish. So he's still the bad guy. But he does things on every show that are the beginning of he's going to be turning babyface.
And because he's got no reason to like Damian Priest. So Damian Priest coming out, then they can have their face-to-face like, hey, man, I came out to give you a little bit of backup here. But, again, you can play that in there. It's going to be interesting to see Gunther as a babyface. But then again, in that lead into WrestleMania next year, they're going to be in Europe for a month. And, man, maybe you can actually make some hay out of that. Obviously, he's not going to be in one of the top spots because of the way things are looking with the bloodline and with women's matches and everything else. But Gunther as a babyface against somebody, that could be interesting.
We had the Wyatt 6 and the Final Testament wild match. Paul Ellering returned, threw powder in Howdy's eyes. He had 6 tons of white powder. Howdy is completely white. Referee counts the pin anyway.
No jokes.
It was silly.
Well, hey, look, it's like all those times that people were spit in the eyes by mist by whoever, Shinsuke or Great Muta or Tajiri or whoever, and the referee just stands there like, well, I guess I got to go ahead and make the pin anyway.
White powder, yes, that's what I said.
Yes,
it could have
tons
been.
Of it
could have been flour. It could have been cocaine. You ever had a 3 pounds of cocaine thrown in your face? You ain't gonna be the same.
Imagine 3. Never mind. Go ahead.
Why is the Miz exactly the same? Like, I asked for him to join this group so that we could get a makeover and like a new character after 20 years.
Who would want that?
Who wants what we have now?
There's more value in that than anything.
No,
Brian.
he's clean. He shaves his face every day. Gets his hair cut. He,
yes.
frosts the tips. Same
the
stupid
oddball.
gear.
Yeah.
No.
He's here
Every
under
single
duress.
one of those Wyatts, like every single one of them, they got a makeover for that group. The Final Testament, they've all got their own gimmick or whatever. He's just the same old guy off the, whatever that stupid show was, The Real World.
Real world.
It's part of the Final
Tough enough.
God, grow a beard, brother. Shave your head.
Maybe he can't,
Shave a
Ryan.
freaking mohawk. What, because of Marine 15? I'm sure it'd be all right. He's playing a Marine. Shave your head. It's going to be fine.
Do you know if he can grow a beard?
Gee, I don't know if you can be a Marine. You've got a shaved head. No, I can't play that role. Just won't work.
This is some shaggy, patchy beard hanging out with Karrion Kross. I don't
Grow
see
a
that helps
goatee.
things.
Something.
He still has to go home to Maurice every night. Maybe she doesn't want it.
Maurice isn't going to be able to handle a beard.
Well,
Come on.
I don't know.
Jack interviewed CM Punk. He knows how to make so many friends. Seth, he says, I don't hate the guy. I don't hate him. We got a long history. Guy came to me when he was 16, wanted me to train him for free. He was entitled. Now he wants to be the best in the world. He used to be on the top 10 list of being fired. I saved him from that. He's talented, but everything he's done, I've done better. And I did it before he even got here. Did a great job when I was gone, but I'm back. Like, wow. And so he's the babyface. And then Seth comes out and cuts a promo on him, like a babyface promo, but Seth is now like he's turning heel. It's very weird. Liv and Dakota Kai. Liv won. Not a lot of heat. PFC attacked Dakota. Damage Control made the save. Liv murdered Io Sky with the Oblivion. If I found out like Io Sky would never wrestle again this morning, I would be like, I know I saw it. But apparently she's all right. It was horrifying.
There's been a couple times where she's hit that move where it has not looked super smooth, which I guess if you want your things to look a little more real, it looks like she really kills you with that, or somebody comes, but it's the ones that fall on top of her and everything else. I don't know. Just I guess everybody's got to get used to taking it, but there always seems to be every one out of every 3 times she hits that move, it does not look good for one reason or another.
New Day ran into Cody, and he wouldn't talk to him, and Woods goes, he's disgusted with me. That's rich coming from that guy. He was such a great guy in high school.
Cody said they should be ashamed.
Turns out that New Day, Woods and Cody, actually, at the same time, in the same place, went to rival high schools. Did you guys know that? It's true.
Both state wrestling champions,
So that's the
too,
story
right?
there.
Or at least in there.
A Drew McIntyre video package where, same deal. Maybe people said I was wrong about Punk. Maybe people can change, but God, I saw Roman and Punk shaking hands. Jimmy and Jay and Sammy all joined up. Punk at least got bribed. These other idiots did it for free. I got to come take him out. Seth comes out for his promo. He says, classic Punk. Take a little bit of truth, spin it, play a victim. He's a con man. Truth is, I did go to him to get trained. At one time, he was one of the best in the world. But the truth is, I looked up to him. He helped me get my foot in the door. But then, what he left out is, when he left here 11 years ago, I called him, I texted him, because I was a friend. What did I get back? Nothing. He ghosted me. It wasn't just me, in fact. It was everybody who was friends with him that worked here. Because to him, if you didn't quit your dream job, if your priorities did not line up with his, you were evil. And it didn't end there. For 10 years, he tried to tear down this company, talked as much crap as he could. When he finally walked back in here, it was because he'd failed everywhere else, burned every bridge, and the money was right. Now, that thing, by the way, about Punk contacting nobody is 100% true. That's not a story that he made up. And he tells his whole story, and the fans start chanting for CM Punk. That's Seth's heel turn right there. And he says, somewhere along the way, I realized you were a fraud. I wanted to be better than you. And by the way, he said, everything you did, I did twice. And I did the one thing you could never do, main event WrestleMania. So Sammy's music hits. He comes out and apologizes for saying that Seth must have attacked Jay. And essentially, they agree that Sammy is going to take care of Drew. Seth can take care of Punk. Seth ends up leaving. Sammy cuts a promo. And, of course, as he's leaving, after challenging Drew to Saturday night's main event, Drew jumps and beats his ass. That is the build to their match. 5th match added. Lyra, Zelina, and Ivy. Lyra won. Very basic. Nothing to write home about. New Day comes to the ring. They're getting this Don Callis heat. These fans hate them. Every time they try to talk, they get booed down. The fans are chanting, New Day sucks. We want Big E. Every time Woods tries to say something, they boo him down. Woods finally goes, we didn't even do anything to Big E. Kofi says, we could have taken a chair to the guy's back. We didn't. They're booed, they're booed, they're booed, they're booed. And finally, they drop their mics. They go to leave the ring. The place cheers like crazy. They ran them off. It was awesome.
It's so awesome. Nobody wanted to see them break up, and they have not really.
No.
He's out anyway. Kofi, and nobody wants to see brothers fight, and they've been teaming together for 15 years now. Kofi and Xavier are brothers, and I'm happy because that tag division could use them like this.
And then we had Rhea and Raquel Anything Goes match, which was fun for what it was. And Raquel went for the Tejano bomb through a table. Rhea slipped behind, riptide through a table, got the pin. And it's funny because like the fans, the ref did this weird thing. And so like the fans thought he counted 1, but he hadn't. And so they counted 1, 2, 3 and cheered when he was still only on 2. So that was awkward. But Io and Rhea grabbed the belt afterwards. They have a stare down. Show goes off the air. Thought it was a good show.
A lot of talking, but there's always a lot of talking on these shows, so you just hope
but it was good.
Times, that's the thing, is that the segment does not drag, and that the two people are not only, relaying everything that they need to, but performing it well. And Seth and Sammy, especially Sammy, does such a great job coming across sincere, and the people were eating it up. It was a great crowd last night as far as reactions go. They keep playing into that too by showing now signs in the crowd, and Joe and Bennett are kind of going back and forth with each other over it, so they're trying to encourage that. I know that their ticket sales have started to level off. There's only so much they could actually rise, but they are playing into these fans being a character in the story, and the fans are responding at the times that WWE needs them to. So, again, a lot of it is gaga nonsense, and maybe in 20 years we look back and it's like people are going to be fast-forwarding through this going, how could they handle all of this? But at this moment in time, boy, they still have a lot of things kicking.
I can always tell sometimes on the chat who watches WWE and who doesn't.
Oh, boy.
This guy goes, the New Day hasn't been a thing for 10 years, have they? 1 week ago, they had a 10-year anniversary. 1 week ago.
13 years ago.
Yes, they've been building it up for months, the 10-year anniversary.
10 years.
So, yes, they have been together for 10 years.
10 years.
Back in a moment,
go.
Observer Live. Just a quick note before this free video. If you click like and subscribe, I'd be very thankful. Well, we reviewed SmackDown yesterday, Tom, and you don't even get SmackDown. You're very, just, you know how you are.
Fine. Whatever. I don't care. Whatever.
That's your impression of me?
Yeah, that's my impression of you.
Wow.
So what are we, at least, I hope you at least watch a SmackDown main event.
I watched the entire show.
Okay, because there's a lot of people that still like your review, Tom.
I went on the board, and I saw like 2 people.
Yeah, do you go on Twitter?
Yeah, I do go on Twitter,
You read my emails?
I do go on
the
Twitter.
Text messages? I mean...
Do you go on Twitter? Because if you do,
unfortunately, yes.
You would have seen one of the greatest moments in world history.
In world history, really.
World history. Frank Tate walked away the victor of the fight, but he walked away an even bigger winner when it comes to life. This man completed what I would say is the best high five, the best dap up in the history of the galaxy. This man had his dog his dog. And when I say dog,
Barely a dog.
I mean D-O-G and D-A-W-G. This was a dog, baby. The dog was so proud. You can see just the elation in that dog's face. He threw that paw up. He let it hang for a few moments, and then he brought it down for the dap.
Tom's not even doing this justice. Everyone has seen a dog,
Listen.
like you put your hand out and the dog like puts his paw up to shake hands. This freaking dog goes, ah, hapa! Like, what? That was more than a high five. I don't even know what you would even term that. He dunked. He dunked that man.
30 million views on this clip, and that is about 1/10 of what it should have. So if you haven't seen it, you deserve it. Treat yourself. Go to my Twitter. Watch Frank Tate high-five his dog.
No, he did not high-five his dog.
The dog high-fived
His dog
him.
high-fived him. Yes. He just wanted like a, just boom. And this dog was like, no way, brother. You knock that man out. I'm going to give you a big-time dunking high-five from way up high. You go high-five, up high, down low, too slow. This was an up high. Guy should have pulled his hand away.
It's the best thing you've ever seen.
Man, too slow, Joe. Yeah, it was pretty good. Not going to lie. I liked it. Back on the show, Bryan Alvarez here, Wrestling Observer Live. Mike Sempervive, also WrestlingObserver.com. So the winner of the T-shirt contest was Dalen. Dalen was the winner.
Hey,
All chop, no
congratulations.
pork. He's getting the files to the people in charge now as we speak. And it'll be up on our store very, very soon here. Did you know we have a T-shirt store? Probably not,
Really?
because I never
Where at?
plug it. At 4wonline.com/shirts. Part of PWTs. But you can go there by typing in f4wonline.com/shirts. And all of our most famous shirts, -5 stars. Shoot Battle Royal winner. That was Vinny. He once won a worked Battle Royal. So if you'd like to pretend you did, you can get this shirt. We got a lot of great ones up there. Giraffe shirt, also very popular. Even my kids have giraffe shirts. So, I know I want the Bigfoot one too. Yeah, we'll get more shirts up here and there. But for this first contest, this is the winner. All chop, no pork. Got the most votes.
Hey, speaking of Bigfoot, where can I hear about things related?
That would be After Dark
to...
Radio.
Really? Where can I
Right
hear
now,
that?
you can hear it as a subscriber at WrestlingObserver.com. And in fact, we talked about Bigfoot on After Dark Radio this past Thursday. It is available on f4wonline.com with a subscription, or Apple, Spotify, or YouTube. And we talked about Bigfoot. Next week's show, we talk about Dog Man.
Dog Man?
Not the cartoon character. The man with a dog's head.
What?
You heard me. So go listen to After Dark Radio right now. And if you're listening on Sports Byline, well, on January 8th, After Dark Radio is moving here. You'll be able to listen live every week, Wednesdays at 2 o'clock p.m. Pacific, 5 Eastern. After Dark Radio and Sports Byline replaying overnights. So that's coming up. But we are out of time for today, so we're going to wrap it up. I want to thank Mike, as always, callers and listeners over the studio, all our Twitch homies. Talk to you next time, Wrestling Observer Live.